Hey guys, welcome back to Master from Gaming Studios. I'm Craig, and today we've got the best list of the month, this time for April. So if you guys are new, this is a series we do at the beginning of every month where we cover the best tiered lists from tournaments in the previous month. So we look at the tournaments, we see if there are any lists from any of the attachments that went undefeated. If we couldn't find any undefeated ones, then we try to see what the next best one we could do, we could find, and we add them to a list here. And this is where we'll just talk about one or two lists from every detachment that performed well. It's great for experienced players, new players, just try to get an idea of what is kind of the Tyranid meta shaking up to look like. And we've got a good variety, somewhat. We are entering what I'm calling the age of the Tyranofex. Now, Tyranofex is, since they changed it to D6 plus 6 damage, has already been a staple in most or many competitive lists. But at least this past month, as you're going to see it, there's a lot of them. So who knows? We'll see where that goes with Tyranids. But today we'll dive into these lists. So before we do, just want to thank all of you who like, subscribe, all of you members. Thank you so much for supporting us, allowing us to do what we do. Check out the links below. The Shopify store, there'll probably be something there you'd be interested in if you are a Tyranid collector. And with all that, let's dive into today's video. So as we typically do with this video, let's start with Vanguard Onslaught. Why we do, I don't know, but it's what we do. No undefeated Vanguard Onslaughts that we could find from a GT level event. So we have Rezo Eldar. He went third at MGWA Avril 2025. Probably butchering that, but he went 4-1. It was a 24 player, so a small event, small GT. But he played Chaos Knights, Eldar, Custodes, Imperial Knights, and lost to Imperial Guard. Interesting, he had to go up against Knights and Imperial Knights. I think those would be typically tougher matchups for the Vanguard Onslaught list, though his list is a little bit different. Not too different, but a little bit different, but still great playing on his part to be able to take on those Knight lists. That's typically, like I said, one of the harder matchups for Vanguard Onslaught. And then Guard, taking a loss to Guard. Guard have a lot of small arms fire that is perfect at just butchering Vanguard Onslaught units. So it is an understandable loss. Either way, the list, we have Death Leaper leading it off. We have a winged Hive Tyrant with the Stalker keyword, which is an interesting one. Typically see Chameleonic. Stalker is 5 points cheaper, so maybe that's why he just had the 5 points he want, or couldn't spend the 5 points on Chameleonic. Stalker, the Hive Tyrant, picks a unit and gets to be better against that one unit. It's an okay, plus I believe it's +1 to hit and wound against it, which I guess for a Hive Tyrant, if it's a big Knight or something, could be good. Got two Broodlords, one of them had the Neuro Node. We have a Neuro Tyrant with Hunting Grounds. That is one of the best enhancements for this detachment. It allows whenever opponents come onto the battlefield, whether it's Strategic Reserve or Reserve, they have to, on a 2+, they have to take a Battleshock check. So that can help boost up things like your Neurolictors later to give you buffs against targeting them, or they can't use their strats when they pop in. We also had a Winged Tyranid Prime to round out the character section. In the battle line, no Gargoyles, but 2 units of 10 Hormagaunts. I do really like Hormagaunts. It's been a while since I brought them out, but they are great, fast-moving infantry unit, tiny profile compared to Gargoyles, or smaller profile compared to Gargoyles. The Advance in Charge OC2 bodies are great for just doing secondaries or stealing primary from your opponent. The rest of the list, got a Biovore, 2 units of 10 Gene Stealers to go with those Broodlords, 2 Lictors, 1 Neurolictor, 1 unit of 6 Melee Warriors to go with that Wing Prime, 2 units of 3 Raveners to pop up and down and do secondaries, and 2 Exocrines. Got to have a little bit of big guns in this list, it looks like. The Exocrines are great. They're cheap, 140 points. They can provide general purpose firepower, but they aren't going to be benefiting the rest of the army too much besides just being a threat. He doesn't have anything else besides the other Exocrine that's going to benefit from the reroll ones. So, you know, it is still good to have something to scare your opponent a little bit. All in all, good list. He's going to just typical Vanguard Onslaught stuff, probably rushing the 20 Gene Stealers up the board. The melee wars will work as that third wave with the Hive Tyrant, and then the Biovore, the Lictors, and the Raveners are just scoring points, screening out the opponent as best as possible, and just scoring as many points in the first few turns before they are just wiped off the table. So, all in all, congratulations on your 4-1 third place, Rezo Elder. Next, we have Synaptic Nexus, and this is an interesting one as well. So this was Ryan Verbeck. He went first at the Salt 3 GT. He went 5-0 with 60 players. His opponents were Grey Knights, Chaos Space Marines, Necrons, Adeptus Custodes, and Thousand Suns. His list had a Neurotyrant with the power of the Hive Mind, which makes him a super flamer there, and the Hive Tyrant with Synaptic Nexus for -1 damage. Battle line, 10 more Hormagaunts. Again, pretty simple, just move them around the board, screen out, steal primary, score secondary. The rest of the list, he had the Biovore, 1 Haruspex, a Lictor, 3 Norn Emissaries, that is the bulk of the list right here, 2 Psychophages, a unit of 6 Zoanthropes, and a big block of 22 Neurogaunts. Neurogaunts are occasionally popping up in lists now. For 90 points, you can get 22 Neurogaunts that just flood your backline, or they can go flood the midboard, but a lot of people use them to just flood the backline and basically prevent your opponent from deep striking or getting anything back there. They can also hold your home objective with the Biovore, but just act as this big synaptic screen in your backline. And if your opponent wants to dedicate fire to them, fine, they're 90 points, so it's not a big deal. But 3 Norns is quite a lot for some armies to deal with. Typically, in my opinion, when you play 3 Norns, you send 2 to the center objective and 1 to your expansion objective. That 1 on your expansion objective probably doesn't see much action throughout the whole game, but it sits there and scores you primary points every single turn. The 2 Norns on the center objective are probably accompanied by the Hive Tyrant and the Haruspex. They will just body everything off the objective and have OC 30 there, so it's going to be tough to deal with them. Psychophages, interesting to include 2 of them. They might, one of them probably follows the Haruspex around, and the other one is just, they are good little durable bugs, monsters, to do secondaries. They are a Rhino with 5-up Feel No Pain, so they've got some good durability. Just leave them kind of in the midboard or your backline. If you got Sabotage, they're a great unit to do it because your opponent has to dedicate firepower that would be going into the Norns to killing those little guys. And if you're Grey Knights, they're actually quite terrifying into Grey Knights with having Anti-Psyker 2-up or 4-up Dev Wounds on damage 2. So all in all, a great list here. It's good to see Synaptic Nexus still getting some wins. I really want Synaptic Nexus to be better, but it seems like all that they can do right now is some Norn play, which is fine, but he's making it work, so great. I like to see it. Surprised at no Neurolictor, though, but that is what it is. Oh, I didn't talk about the Zoanthropes. I don't know. 2 plays with the Zoanthropes here is you bring them on from Strategic Reserve, or you walk them up the board, keep them by the Hive Tyrant, so they get the Assault and Lethal bubble. That makes them a little bit more potent and mobile. They are a good damage dealer. They reroll 1s to hit and wound strat is very good and allows them to just carve holes in your opponent's army. You do have to worry about the fragility, but again, with 3 Norns, your opponent has other things to deal with. So I like the list. Maybe I'll try it out. I'm looking at moving into Synaptic Nexus a little bit here, potentially, just in some more casual play. But I do like it, and 3 Norns are cool. We have 2 invasion fleets this week. So here's the first one. This is, and I'm going to get this wrong, so forgive me, Borja David Palacio Valduza. Sorry if I got that wrong. He got first at the number 2 GT Astraeus. Again, this is probably another language, so that's why I'm a little confused here, but still 5-0 with 48 players. He went up against Chaos Demons, Custodes, Dark Angels, Imperial Guard, and Eldar. He had a a pretty cool list for Invasion Fleet. He had a Winged Hive Tyrant, which you don't see very often, 2 units of 20 Termagants in the battle line, and then the rest of the list is just big monster mash. He's got a Biovore, 3 Exocrines, 2 Lictors, 2 Maliceptors, 2 Psychophages, a Pyrovore, and 2 Tyrannofexes with Rupture Cannons. So the main play with a style of list like this, the Hive Tyrant is going to be sitting in the mid-board. He's probably going to be supporting the Termagants, actually. The -1 to your opponent's attack is not -1 to hit, but -1 to the number of attacks, is pretty good at allowing some of these units to just not be able to kill a big brick of Termagants. A lot of units in the game have 3, 4, 5 attacks. If they have 3 attacks or 4 attacks, now you're going down to 2 or 3 attacks. That significantly hampers the amount of damage they can do. And on top of the, the hitting and wounding and things like that. So he probably plays this. The 20 Gaunts, 2 units of 20 Gaunts, they are there to flood the middle of the board and create a big buffer zone to protect all of these monsters. The Psychophages, each Termagant brick probably has a Psychophage accompanying them for that 6-up Feel No Pain. Remember, in Invasion Fleet, there's the strat, so both of these units could bring back flat 3 or D3 plus 3 Gaunts. Again, I don't play Invasion Fleet very often, so that's not on the top of my head. But they can bring back a good number of Gaunts there. 2 Lictors for secondaries. The Exocrines, Maliceptors, and Tyrannofexes is a big brick of shooty bugs. The stuff that's really going to hit you in melee, that elite infantry that hits pretty hard, Exocrines and Maliceptors are perfect at it. And then to protect the Exocrines and Maliceptors from long-range shooting, you have the Tyrannofexes. So this really is kind of like a form of Pressure Stampede, but with a big carpet of Gaunts in there. And I can guarantee you he's taking full advantage of the regenning Gaunts in the 5-up Feel No Pain strat to keep his Maliceptors and Gaunts and Psychophages in the board. So I like the list a lot. It's nice to see bricks of Termagants still making it to the top tables, because sometimes they're not really seen anymore, especially with Unending Swarm out. So congratulations again, and 5-0. Awesome to see this style of Invasion Fleet get it. We do have another Invasion Fleet, like I said. Jeff Peterson, he got 5th at the Squig City Casino Royale 2025. He went 5-0 with 79 players. His opponents were Chaos Knights, Imperial Agents, Orcs, Blood Angels, and Chaos Knights again. So congrats on going 2-0 against the Chaos Knights. I find them to be one of the more annoying armies to play as Tyranids here. His list, he had a Hive Tyrant with Adaptive Biology and a Broodlord with Perfectly Adapted. He probably just included this for the 15 points he had left over. Not much else looking at his list that he could upgrade for 15 points, so why not throw it on there? Give the Broodlord a free reroll every battle round. So it's something. Battle line, 2x10 Gargoyles. They're still good. They're a little pricey up at 85 points, but the shenanigans that you can pull off with Gargoyles, fantastic. Probably keeps one on the board and deep strikes another. That first one can just screen out your opponent, fly up, advance, shoot, and then do your shoot and scoot ability. So you are potentially moving up to 24 inches a turn with those Gargoyles. Of course, you can't charge, but all you need to do for a non-flying army is just screen them out, and they can't move past you get to your monsters. The rest of the list, Biovore, of course. 2 Exocrines, a unit of Gene Stealers for that Broodlord, a Lictor, a Maliceptor, a Pyrovore, a unit of 3 Raveners, a unit of 6 Raveners, and 2 more Tyrannofexes with the Rupture Cannon. Again, pretty good there. 1 Exocrine and 1 Tyrannofex is a great combo. Having 2 of those fire bases moving around, probably semi-supported by the Hive Tyrant, allows you to just focus fire some big tanks and delete them with the combo fire there. The Maliceptor is Maliceptor and the Gene Stealers, and maybe even the block of 6 Raveners, are working their way up towards the midfield. That Maliceptor is going to be under a lot of pressure by himself there to hold the middle, but with the help of Gene Stealers and the help of the Raveners, he probably can keep most threats at bay, because a lot of the ranged threats are dealing with the other big bugs in the list. So congratulations again. It's a tough matchup here. The Chaos Knights, Blood Angels, Orcs are all tough matchups for Tyranids at times. So good job going 5-0 against them. Next off, we have Crusher Stampede. This was a 5-1 list. This was Kenneth. I think we've had Kenneth on one of these videos in the past. I remember it, or I remember the name at least. He went 8th at the Wet Coast GT 2025. I don't know if it's supposed to be West Coast, but it was typed in when I found it as Wet Coast. He went 5-1 with 145 players, so huge event there. His opponents were Chaos Space Marines, Space Marines, then Chaos Space Marines, then Orcs was his one loss, Chaos Space Marines again, Blood Angels, and Necrons. And this list is very simple as Crusher Stampede. You've got your Hive Tyrant, you've got no battle line, a Biovore, 2 Exocrines, a Maleceptor, 11 Neurogons, again, something to maybe in this list even bring on from Strategic Reserve to do actions, or just screen your backline. 3 Norn Emissaries, and 2 Tyranofexes with Rupture Cannons, and 2 individual Ripper Swarms. The Ripper Swarms are fine include, again, you can use them to kind of screen out a flank, or they can deep strike, and you can still score, engage in all fronts, behind enemy lines, and what's the other one? There's a third one that's escaping my brain right now, but Ripper Swarms can still score that even being OC0, so it's not a bad include there. But it's pretty much it. It's the 3 Norns. Again, I personally like the idea of 1 Norn on your expansion objective. That's the no man's land, not the center closest to you, and then 2 on the center, and then again 1 Exocrine, 1 Tyranofex together, an Exocrine and Tyranofex together, kind of working around as a combo pair. The Hive Tyrant, he's probably sitting around in supporting the shooting lanes for a while and then moves up to the middle. And the Maleceptor will walk with those 2 Norns to the center. Just a huge brick of 4 up Invone, toughness 11 wounds. And then the Maleceptor providing that -1 to hit bubble to just, again, help protect the Norns. So very nice, very cool list here. I guess Orcs, maybe they just had enough guns to deal with you or enough anti-monster stuff to deal with you, but still, very nice list. Congratulations on the 5-1. And finally, for my favorite detachment, we have Assimilation Swarm. Thomas Harquez went first at the Nidaros Grand Tournament of 2025. He went 5-0 with 43 players. His opponents were Votann, Blood Angels, Dark Angels, Eldar, and again Eldar in the last round. The list is an interesting one here, and I've been slowly seeing this evolution of Assimilation Swarm drifting away from the Tyrant Guard bricks, which I love, and drifting more into big monsters with the now updated, it's been a while, but the updated Norn Assimilator to have the Harvester keyword. So the list, Death Leaper, a nice little infiltrate. If he had the points, upgrade a Lictor or something to Death Leaper, helps out. Had a Hive Tyrant with Instinctive Defense. It's a nice enhancement to put on a Hive Tyrant, giving him a situational Heroic Intervention and fight first. Typically, a Hive Tyrant is powerful enough to really decimate or diminish a lot of units that are going into the charge against big bugs like this. He can take out half a squad, which really softens their potential blow. So the rest of the list, because there's no there's no battle line. You've got a Biovore, 2 Lictors for screening, actions, whatever, a Neurolictor, a Pyrovore, 2 individual Ripper Swarms because they do heal, 2 Exocrines, a Harusfex, a Norn Assimilator, a Norn Emissary, and 2 Tyranofexes with Rupture Cannons. Again, you've heard this enough. Rupture Cannon, Exocrine, Tyranofex, Exocrine. Those guys work well together, especially with the Hive Tyrant. Though this kind of Hive Tyrant you want more towards the center of the board. I'm going to guess that the Harusfex and maybe the Harusfex and the Hive Tyrant work together on one flank towards your expansion objective. And then the Emissary and Assimilator go towards the center objective. There's a good combo you can do here. Both of them can have 5-up Feel No Pain. The Norn Assimilator, you can give a 4-up Feel No Pain for 2 CP or 1 if you're within range of the Hive Tyrant. And that really allows that big OC 30 in this case brick to hang around for a while there. The Pyrovore is nice to just, again, be a healing unit. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he walked it on from Strategic Reserve, though he does have 2 lictors, so he probably doesn't need to do that. And a Neurolictor is an interesting include. Helps flip secondaries and help other units fight better. The Battle Shock, he's got a lot of lictors in this Assimilation Swarm list, which is making me think a little bit. It's a lot of Battle Shock shenanigans that I typically have started to drift away from because I just don't find them consistent enough for their point value yet. Though, he obviously is making it work because they are very good at forcing Battle Shocks in combination, and maybe part of his thought is he's dealing with Eldar. Lictors, Death Leaper, they're all very good at dealing with Eldar. They have a nice, 6 attacks, high AP, low damage, which is what Eldar struggle to deal with because there's a lot of them and there's not a lot of Eldar to do. So maybe he's got some play. If you're watching, let me know your reason for including Death Leaper and the Neurolictor in this list. The 2 lictors make sense, but I am interested into exactly why you chose those 2 units over, say, another Haruspex or Gaunt's or something like that. But all in all, great list. Like to see a little variety in the Assimilation Swarm because this is my favorite, like I said. And that is it. We had no list for Unending Swarm because that detachment is garbage right now. And we had no list for Warrior Biofilm Onslaught. I tried to play the GT. You'll probably see a video next week about it. But I only went 3-2 with it. I had 2 really close games that basically were determined by a die roll. So I was not able to do, a 5-0 or even a 4-1 with the detachment. But alas, still a fun time with that one. So that is what we got. 6 lists for you guys. Let me know what you guys think. And if you watched these, if you are someone who played these lists and are watching, if you want to add any extra color commentary to what I said about them, feel free to put in the comments below. I'll be reading, and I'm sure everyone else watching will be reading too. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time here at Maelstrom Gaming Studios.